With mutual fund industry inching a closer to 70 lakh crore and number of investors rising to 5 crore, what can the investors expect? To talk more on this, we have here with us Nilesh Shah, who is the MD of Kotak Mahindra Asset Management. Hello, sir. Pleasure to have you here.
My pleasure.
So, with recent corrections in the market, and has Nifty reached its dip? With that, what's your outlook for the next year in terms of equity and debt markets?
I wish I ever knew what the top or bottom of the market was. At 7,500 Nifty in March 20, we didn't know it was the bottom. At 26,500, we didn't know it was the top. So I don't know whether markets have topped or bottom or not. I do believe in a falling market, cheaper market, we should be buying, we should be taking risk. In a rising market, expensive market, we should be booking profit. We know when the markets are undervalued, markets are overvalued, and markets are fairly valued.
And any aspects of macros which could work for the country?
So we are in a phase where the fifth largest economy of the world is on its way to become third largest, and eventually it will narrow the gap between top two. This is a journey of Bharat becoming 300 billion to 4 trillion and 4 trillion eventually becoming maybe 25, 30, 40 trillion dollar. This is driven by talent of India. We have incredible entrepreneurs who operate in a shoestring budget and deliver quality product. We have infrastructure which has been built over last 10 years, almost equivalent to what was there before that. And finally, there is availability of capital. Both the capital markets and debt markets are providing money to entrepreneurs. So it's the Triveni Sangam of entrepreneurs, capital and infrastructure which is creating India growth story.
Do you see FIs returning?
सुबह का बोला शाम को घर लौट आएगा. Our earnings growth is better than others. In last 10 years, Chinese earning per share of CSI 300 went up by 10% in renminbi terms. Our Nifty 50 went up by 166% in rupee terms, 16 times more than China. Obviously, currency base is different. As long as we deliver earnings growth with governance, I think foreigners will come back to invest.
What would be your top picks in terms of sectors? So we've talked about capex picking up, consumption, financials. If you could tell us more on that.
So one, the pitch has changed. Last 5 years were betting pitch. You could score 4, 6 and runs at will. Now we are on a even pitch where you'll have to score 1s and 2s, occasionally hit 4s and 6, and be careful not to lose wickets. This is time where quality should do better than momentum, and each one's definition of quality is different, but समझदार के लिए इशारा काफी है. Reasonable valuation stocks will do better than expensive valuation, and stocks with diversified ownership are more likely to have market discovered prices compared to one with concentrated ownership. This is the year of stock pickings and sector rotation, as money making will become difficult. At this point of time, we believe there are opportunities in IT, pharma, FMCG, consumer staples, telecom, where we believe there is reasonable valuation and reasonable growth. There are sectors like infra, defense, railway, some capital goods company, where valuations are ahead of their fundamentals.
Okay, so like the investors have to be a little careful before buying stocks.
Invest with moderate return expectation, and if you understand the company, go ahead and invest directly. Otherwise, please hand it over to mutual fund.
For the new investors, for the fresh investors, what could be certain MF categories they can look at if they want to enter the market?
If you are starting with SIP, then equity fund large cap is appropriate. If you are thinking of lump sum, then multi-asset allocation fund is where you should invest. Between multi-asset allocation fund and SIP and a large cap equity fund, I think first time investor can start their investment journey.
Also on a more industry level, what sort of penetration are you seeing for the smaller cities? Are you, the government also says that Atmanirbhar Bharat is where everyone is, investing in mutual funds through SIPs and all of those. So how do you think on an industry level, what can AMCs do, or what can the government, do in sort of making that possible?
So we have a long distance to cover. Today I have 5 crore investors, but there are 144 crore Indians who need financial security.
Yes.
And where will they get their financial security? If you invest in assets which are not giving real return, like currency notes, you will never get your financial security. The total currency notes issued at 34 lakh crore is more than what money would have come into Indian equity mutual funds. Our AUMs are higher, but that's because of market appreciation. It's not the money which we have got. So clearly, we have a long distance to cover. And my customers are not just rich Indians, it is also middle class and lower middle class and poor Indians, because they need maximum financial security. My clientele is not just urban India, it is also semi-urban and rural India. Every Indian which requires financial freedom, which requires financial security, has to be a mutual fund investor. And SIP, while people call it systematic investment plan, मेरे लिए तो वो सब इच्छा की पूर्ति है, as long as you give enough time. So we have a long distance to cover. Our regulators have done a great job in creating boundaries and earning investors' trust. We have to keep on doing what we have done for last 30 years in gaining investors' trust. People give money when they trust you. So we just have to lage raho munna bhai, bas kaam karte raho.
My last question to you is that, with so much clutter of information for the investors, how can they make that one advice to the investors? Influencers are there, so much information is there. What would you like to tell the investors?
So in the storm, you always look at the lighthouse. Same way in your financial journey, always look at the lighthouse. Whether it's your trusted mutual fund distributor, whether it's a media person like you, whether it's a fund manager like me. Follow people whom you can trust and who will not betray your trust. In the storm, always look at the lighthouse.
All right. Thank you so much for those insights, sir.
Thank you.
That was all from today's session. Thank you.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.